Just about ready to get this one underway. Irish have historically dominated Wake Forest in the 20-year rivalry between these two teams. Notre Dame has had a lot of success since joining the ACC back in 2013. They have the 4th best winning percentage in conference play in that span, including 7 wins in ACC competition each of the last 2 seasons.
If we go back to last year's game against Wake Forest, Notre Dame just kind of dominated that one, especially with some then players from last year. Wingate and Corbin Albert really stepping up on Notre Dame's side. So Wake Forest, but this is a different team today that Wake Forest is playing with new players such as Morgan Roy, Meg Murwicki really getting the nod as freshmen up front there on the offensive side. So we see how differently Notre Dame likes to play this.
Yeah, sorry, John. Notre Dame won that game 3-0 at Wake Forest last year on October 23rd, but 3 goal scorers and starting keeper are no longer with the team, of course, and Corbin Albert, Olivia Wingate, and Mackenzie Wood. It's still a Notre Dame team that's found some success in the early going of the season, although it hasn't all gone perfect for the Irish so far. They come into play tonight at 4-1-2. Started the year ranked inside the top 5, but have fallen to 13. All smiles, though, for Nate Norman and his club. He knows this is when the games start to get bigger, and this Irish team has proved over the last 2 years with their play in ACC competition and the NCAA tournament as well that they're more than capable of handling these moments.
Right. I mean, it's like, especially in the early parts of the season, it's more you're building off of what you can start with, trusting the process that your team's going to continuously get better, especially game to game in those non-conference games. So now, since you're in the ACC play, now this is where the tempo starts picking up.
Demon Deacons have the ball here, and early foul is going to be called on Notre Dame's Lainey Matriano. Battled injury so far this season, but getting the start tonight. Takedown there was of Kaya Hanks, who we highlighted in the intro, of course. 3 goals, 3 assists. 4 points in her last game as well.
Yeah, Hanks is a really physical forward, just really pushing her way through, trying to force her way through that Notre Dame defense. It's a really dangerous spot, especially early on the set piece. Something that Wake Forest has been really good at this year.
Hanks and a couple other Demon Deacons lined up near it. We'll see who takes it. Ball sent into the back, headed in front, but an easy save there for Naylor. It was Emily Morris who stepped up and took it. First shot of the game, an easy stop for the senior Naylor. Turnover here, though, by Notre Dame. Irish quickly recover. And it's worked back to Anaya Hudson and sent up the left side.
See Maddie Mercado, number 3 there for the Irish, they're playing more of a midfielder slot now instead of the number 9 striker position that she's normally played. Morgan Roy coming up the right side here, almost replacing her.
Seeing the electricity that Roy has with the ball so far this season. She throws one into the box here. Unable to connect with a teammate. Demon Deacons clear. Wake Forest received a vote in the last coaches poll. They entered this match at 6-0-1, although this is the first ranked opponent they faced this season. And they were supposed to play Brown a couple of days ago, who was ranked number 23 at the time, but the game was canceled due to inclement weather. Long ball here, and this will go for a goal kick. Madison Howard getting the nod tonight for Wake Forest. She started 6 of the first 7 games for the Demon Deacons and has put up some strong numbers.
Yeah, Howard's been a really nice presence for them in goal. Just being really physical, especially on set pieces, whether it's a corner or a free kick in the box. It's a presence that Notre Dame's gonna have to really keep in mind, especially when they have their own set pieces, because Notre Dame they love those corners there, Andrew.
Yeah, the Irish this year have been much more efficient on them, although they've been in a bit of a dry spell over the last couple of games or so after getting off to a great start. They were the top corner drawing team in the ACC last year, but only scored on 3 out of about 150. And needed less than 20% of the attempts to exceed that goal total this season.
Norman's always talking about creating opportunities, creating chances for them to score on goal. But if you create all those chances but you can't score, where do all those chances come to, you know?
Throw into the back line here and a turnover for Wake Forest. Irish trying to work it inside. This time it's Wake Forest making the defensive recovery. Notre Dame plays it back. Gattino to the left side. As Leah Klinke over there, who moves up. Klinke throws one, Lynch with the shot, and she scores! Just 5 minutes and 53 seconds in, and the Irish become the first team all season to score on Wake Forest in the opening half. Third of the year for Christina Lynch and a 1-0 Irish lead.
Just a nice little simple play here for Klinke, just settling down after working around the Wake Forest defense. And Lynch just times it up. She's just got great vision up there up front. Sees the open space. Klinke sees it too. 1-2 punch. Our name's up 1-0.
Third goal of the season for the Florida State transfer Lynch. Her goal song in the background there, if you could hear it, is Without Me by Eminem, and it's the line, Guess Who's Back? And the Irish certainly happy to have her back. She was supposed to be a part of the team last year, but missed the entire year due to injury. But she is back in full force and now moves into a tie for leading goal scorer on this Irish team, which continues to get contributions from up and down the lineup.
Yeah, Christina Lynch is that veteran leadership that you need in the locker room, especially for Coach Norman, who wants to make that push up into that top 4, top 5 group in the nation to be considered a title contender. Christina Lynch has that experience and won the championship with FSU. So she knows what it takes, and especially for all these young players like Morgan Roy, rookie Claire Logan, who plays in the defense right now for the Notre Dame. It's really important just to get them acclimated, help them gain composure in these big games.
Yeah, won it not once but twice with Florida State. And has made an impact for this Notre Dame team. She started at times this year. She's come off the bench as well. Back in the starting 11 tonight and making her presence felt. So the goal reads Lynch with Leah Klinke getting the assist. That's her 4th of the season. She leads this Irish club. Puts her in a tie for 5th in the ACC. One back of Nikayla Small for 2nd most. Andy Mertz of Pitt with 5 as well. Notre Dame back on the hunt for more. They work it into the box again. Lynch goes up for it. It comes to Roy, but she was unable to get a clean shot away. Got caught in between and mishit it. Pretty easy stop there for Howard.
Just some mistiming there by Roy. I think she wasn't expecting it to just come right to her.
Oh, space opens up here, and it's walked in for a shot off the crossbar on a rising bid from Hanks. We said both teams like to fire it, and they are shooting at will here in the early going. Might have been another opportunity there for Wake Forest as pass for Abby Colton was broken up at the last minute. Ball sent ahead, Lynch was run off it on a nice defensive recovery. As Zara Chavashi was just able to get back in time.
Had 2 really big scoring opportunities for both teams. There we go, with both goalies just stepping up. Really just getting the saves needed in the other teams in the game. As we take a look here. Kayla Hanks' shot, man, what a shot, left foot. Just couldn't dip it right into the bottom there, underneath top of the post.
Yeah, it almost looked like there was a little bit of a miscommunication between the Irish defenders. Gattino kind of backed off for a second, and that opened up a lane for Hanks, and she almost took advantage of it. Pass for Van Zanten, a nice sliding break up there by Emily Morris. Foul called here, though, against Wake Forest.
Mention Gattino in the back. You got Claire Logan on the right side, the freshman coming in. That's a big communication there, especially on the right side. Hanks is probably going to be attacking that side a lot this game, knowing how much space she just saw now within the first 10 minutes.
Long range play, back post, and Roy looked like she misjudged that one. Again, wasn't sure if that was going to go on goal or if she should make a play for it. And it winds up skipping out of bounds.
And Morgan Roy's got the talent to really open up this Irish offense, both not just on those run balls like we saw just then, but also on the shots out, on balls outside the box. I think for Coach Norman's team, that's something that's really critical. They always are attacking, always putting pressure on the opponent. So a lot of times opponents might sit back on the defensive side and really put numbers up. Here comes Van Zanten.
Yeah, she forced a steal there with pressure and took a shot that was deflected, and so it will be corner number 1 for Notre Dame. As you mentioned, the Irish have improved their corner efficiency, but they've been in a bit of a rut over the last couple games or so. They were 4 for 30 at one point, now 4 for 47 on the season. And Morgan Roy, who just feels like the type of player where if she gets one, the floodgates are going to open for her. Has certainly had some close calls over the last few games. We'll see what she does here. Swings it inside, rejected back out. Rebound chance, Van Zanten with a low shot, blocked off in front. And after the initial clear resulted in some friendly fire, the Demon Deacons clear to the center line.
Roy's got really good feel for the ball. That's why she's taking all these corners for the Irish. She's always just very creative with the ball, always a lot of fun to watch, especially on the offensive side, and that's something that Coach Norman really needs. Especially now since he's got Maddie Mercado switching into the midfield. It's almost like he's got 2 forwards. Midfield now with Mercado, and now Roy playing up.
Another turnover forced there from Kiki Van Zanten, who's been very active tonight in the early going. Nice move, though, here to the outside by Emily Murphy. She got away from Winaya Hudson and gets caught down from behind by Mercado, and legally so. And then Mercado gets twisted up, and the officials say play on. Murphy with a long shot. That one goes wide.
A little bit of a tangle up there. I think Matriano thought the ref was going to call the play, but he said play on after Murphy went down.
Murwicki got a little too aggressive there. This is a Notre Dame team that is not afraid to play physical. Second most fouls in the ACC with 86 entering play tonight. Wake Forest with the 5th fewest coming into this game at 67. Certainly fits with the aggressive play style that Nick Norman has championed in his 5+ seasons in South Bend.
Those fouls could also shut down possessions very quickly. You're going up, trying to play really quick, and then all of a sudden, as you try and gain possession, ref calls the whistle, and what you thought was going to be maybe a 3-on-2, a 2-on-1, now becomes a free possession for the other teams. That's something, especially for Coach Norman, that's something they want you want to clean up. Because if you want to make a lot of chance, give yourself a lot of opportunities. Don't want to be giving them away.
There's pressure from Lynch, and she takes it away from a Wake Forest defender. Play to the outside, cross in front. Roy reaching for it. Ball comes loose for a moment, but Howard is quick to jump on top of it. The speed to the outside for this Notre Dame team, though, has been evident on both sides of the pitch all season, and we've seen it play a factor so far in this game already.
So far, Klinke's really taking advantage of that right side of Wake Forest's defense. It's been a side that's a little bit vulnerable for the Demon Deacons.
Give and go to Van Zanten. She finds Roy right side, has options in front. Roy delays, threw it to the box. That one knocked away by Howard. She fell a bit awkwardly towards the near post, but was able to keep that one out. Demon Deacons look to attack in transition. Hanks brings it up, taken down. There's another foul on the Irish. This time it's Claire Logan who's called. One of a handful of freshmen for Notre Dame who's seen consistent playing time this season. She's been a regular starter for Nate Norman as well. Her and Morgan Roy have been the two among that 10-person freshman class who have played the most, but they've gotten some contributions from other pieces as well. There's turnover there after some miscommunication between Mercado and Roy.
See Kai Hanks here. You know, you heard over the headset that Emily Murphy's just calling for the ball up front there. She's trying to get Hanks to pass it up the line, but just wasn't quite open enough for Hanks to really play a good ball up the line. Something to really look forward at, especially with Claire Logan on the right. She has to battle two really good attacking players for the Demon Deacons.
Wake Forest team has certainly not struggled to score goals lately. They've got multiple in 5 consecutive games. Have scored at least 3 goals in 3 of those contests. But this is certainly their toughest opponent so far this season, and the Irish have put some pressure on them early, and here's Lynch throwing one in front again, but was unable to connect with a streaky Mrowicki. Wake Forest looks to push in transition, but a good recovery by Mercado. A nice move to the outside here. And Wake Forest moves up. To the outside goes Nikayla Small. Worked off the ball, though, by Hudson. Small a bit slow to get up as the Irish recover possession.
Irish doing a really nice job, just really getting back on defense from the midfielders and the forwards. Roy, who's traditionally playing the 10-11 spot for the Irish, is currently right now playing the wing back for the Irish when they go on defense. So she's really putting in the work off the ball to not only just keep the offense going, but also putting numbers on defense so that the Irish aren't down a man. And really helping out Claire Logan and Ava Gaetino really stymie this Wake Forest front line.
Yeah, Wake Forest came out strong offensively early, but not much in the way of chances for them since they shut off the crossbar from Hanks right after the Lynch goal. Wake Forest historically has struggled against Notre Dame, an all-time record of 2-9-1. They actually have been a little bit better playing in South Bend at 2-5-1. They've never even gotten a point against Notre Dame at home or in neutral sites. Which is not how you necessarily expect it to be, considering how good this Irish team has been at home, especially recently. 23-4-5 at Alumni over the last 2 seasons as Van Zanten tries to jump on this loose ball but couldn't track it down cleanly. Although it has been a bit of a reverse trend as well this year for Notre Dame as a whole. Both of their 2 draws and 1 loss have come at South Bend. 2-0-0 on the road so far this year. Should be important for them because after this they've got a couple of road matches against top 25 teams in Duke and Pitt. Here's Lynch just outside the box, tried to lead it in front, but passing in enough steam to find Mercado. Long range shot, that one sails wide. And the try from Meg Mrowicki. Looks like the signal was deflected though, and so another corner coming up for Notre Dame.
Nice job by Mrowicki to kind of recognize the situation that was in front of her. Damon Deacon's just lining up, just putting a wall of defenders in front of her. She sets up the corner here.
Line drive in by Roy, comes to the back of the box. And a miss hit there results in another goal kick. Should also result in our first sub of the game as well. Alex Wood coming off for Wake Forest here. We had our first sub at the 20-minute mark. You see Anna Swanson just checking into the game. Has 2 assists in 7 games this season, a couple starts as well for her. There's Van Zant with a shot. That one deflected and knuckles to Howard, who settles down the spin.
You mentioned the schedule earlier for Wake Forest there, Andrew. I mean, you go from going to Rhode Island to possibly playing Brown to not being able to play Brown, and then all of a sudden coming up to South Bend to play top 25 ranked Irish team. It's going to take a toll, especially the body. But, you know, they didn't get that game against Brown, so they may be a little bit more rested, a bit more practice time to really get this back line in order as Megan Roy once again coming up the left side, right side.
Roy inside. Ball was reached for there, but never directed on goal. Good hustle, though, from Mercado to retain control for the Irish. It has been 8 days since this Wake Forest team played as a result of the cancellation of the Brown game, as we get a foul called here. This one will go against Morris and Wake Forest. Our coach, Tony DeLuz, called that a blessing in disguise. To get them that rest before, obviously, these important games. You can tell just from the feel of this one that both teams know this matters a little bit more, with both trying, of course, to set the tone for ACC play this season. Wake Forest over the last few years has been excellent in non-conference play. In fact, they've won 23 of their last 26, and the only 3 games are draws, so 26 consecutive matches without a defeat. But last year, just 3-6-1 in ACC action, which put them in 9th place in one of the deepest conferences in all of college soccer.
You mentioned that for this year, Andrew, I mean, with Coach DeLuz, he really wants to go up here to Notre Dame and kind of beat the Irish. That'd be a statement piece, especially at the start of the season, to really let the ACC know, put the ACC on watch, that Deacons are a team to be feared, are a team to be considered in that conversation of top ACC schools, which is tough because you have FSU, UNC, Duke all up there, always continuously placing it within the top 10 of the nation. But you could try and get this win tonight for Wake Forest would be a great way to try and continue that momentum that they've built in those non-conference matches, to really put the ACC on watch.
So far as this season already, 6 ACC teams are ranked in the top 25, including 3 top 10 schools, and number 2 UNC, 4 Florida State, and 8 Clemson. None of those 3 teams have lost a game yet this season. The other has Virginia, who's 5-0-2, sitting number 20 in the coaches poll and 5th best in the ACC in their non-conference record. Just past the halfway mark of the first half here in South Bend. An early goal from Christina Lynch started the scoring. A lot of opportunities for both sides in the early going, but it's slowed down a little bit over the last few minutes. Nice fake there, though, by Morris, and Hanks was just quite unable to flag down what could have been a dangerous lead pass.
Notre Dame so far on the defensive side have done a really good job of not allowing Wake Forest into the final third of the Irish. Hasn't really allowed a lot of shot chances after that opening 5 to 10 minutes that we saw. Kyla Hanks.
Miscommunication there between a couple Irish players in the corner. Howard way out of her net, does turn this one over. Irish trying to take advantage, but she hustles back, and her defense comes to her rescue as well. A chance for a shot there for the Irish while the net was open. That's a takedown and an easy call for the officials to make, as Mercado was dragged down by Morris after the turnover.
Take a look here at the pass, just simple, easy tackle for Mercado. Morris is trying to continue the physicality a little bit. It's one thing about Wake Forest that Coach DeLiz talked about in the Rhode Island game. Started out a little bit too slow in that first half. So I think in this half he's especially going to want his team to kind of step up the energy, especially going up against Notre Dame, who's already gotten a goal on the board. They pick up the intensity, the urgency on both sides of the ball, not just on the offensive side.
Morris, after the foul, has it once again for Wake Forest. She's been one of their most notable players so far in this half. Thanks to Colton. Small tries to lead on the right side, and it does bounce in Wake's favor. Ball inside is knocked aside by Winia Hudson, and the Irish move out. Both these teams coming off 3-goal performances in their last contest. Wake Forest a 3-1 win over Rhode Island. The Irish bouncing back from their first loss of the season to Michigan with a 3-0 victory over Bowling Green. Irish got goals from Maddie Mercado, Meg Berwicki, Christina Lynch in that game. That was the usual suspects for Wake Forest leading the way. Obviously, Hanks with the goal and 2 assists. Some more substitutions now. Notre Dame will make its first couple of changes as Wake Forest gets its first corner of the night. Ali Ospek, Charlie Kahn checking in. Sophia Fisher as well. Matriano, Mrowicki, and Lynch head off. Yanks will take the first corner of the night for the Demon Deacons, trying to knot the score. Sends it into the back post. Leaping effort from Gattino heads it away, and Fisher volleys it further to the sideline. Irish try for a quick up, but Ospek broke right, and the ball went left. So Ava Gattino using her size to her advantage there. She's got 2 goals on corners this season out of her 3 overall, and just as effective at preventing the other side from getting to those balls as she is at putting them in the back of the net.
Yeah, she's like almost the biggest presence on both sides of the ball. It seems like every game. That tackle there on Morgan Roy, that was clear foul there for the ref. Like we talked about, Gattino has just been a presence for the Irish, and he had something especially, not just as a physical presence, but also as a vocal leader, getting the Irish backline organized. So you look at the opposite side of the ball for Wake Forest. Javoshi has to really get the Demon Deacons organized, and the Irish players love to keep mix around running lanes, kind of switch off sides. So it's going to be important for Wake Forest to continuously communicate, say who's marking, always keep their head on a swivel. That's something that, as we've seen so far, especially in that early early parts of this game. Notre Dame's really been able to exploit, and that's almost like the bread and butter for Notre Dame, is getting crosses in off on the runs. And those back post runs that we saw Morgan Roy take at that very first shot that she got on goal right in front of Howard. Something they can't beat, that Wake Forest cannot give away too much.
That foul there on Small just a moment ago was her third of the game. Offside there on Osbeck. Someone who hasn't started consistently for the Irish team, but has had some big moments, and 3 points against Michigan State, and big late equalizer, Notre Dame's biggest game so far this season, a 2-2 draw against number 11 Arkansas back in late August. Crafty new move there by Ansbro to avoid the chase down by Osbeck. But a turnover here. Irish trying to knock this ball down. Sliding effort clears it as far as Van Zanten. She takes it to her right, to her left. Lays it off on the outside, but Notre Dame is offside for the second time in about 60 seconds.
Yeah, this Wake Forest backline just hasn't seen the type of tempo that Notre Dame loves to play at. You see in the back there, Ansbro just kind of getting caught off guard with the amount of intensity that Osbeck is presenting her. Ansbro thinks she's shaking off Osbeck, but Osbeck just comes running, sprinting right up behind her, really keeping Wake Forest pinned back in their own third.
Wake Forest has not had a shot since 12 minutes and 27 seconds into this game, and they give it away once again. Back pass here comes to Klinke, tries to create some space on the outside. Buys time, hits Fisher up high. Try to return it to her, but pass is intercepted. Wake Forest trying to burst ahead here, and the foul's going to go against Emily Murphy, who had the ball for a moment, lost it, and took down Gattino trying to win it back.
That was an important challenge there between both Gattino and Murphy. Murphy almost had the leg up, and Mercado kind of sprinted all the way back, using her speed that she's normally known for on that offensive side, using it on the defense to get back. Some pulling and tugging on the shirts. The ref calls it for Notre Dame.
7th foul of the game already on Wake Forest. They came into this game averaging about 9.5 fouls per game, and they've almost hit that mark, and we still got 12 minutes to go in the opening half. Shows you how hard it is to defend this Notre Dame team, even if they've had some trouble finishing at times throughout this season. Here's Klinke, tries to cross one inside, instead draws a corner. Third one of the game for the Irish.
See, as the Demon Deacons are trying to adjust to the pace of play of Notre Dame, but adding more midfielders into that back line, especially as they go on defense. Julius just gums up the middle of the field. All the crossing space, all the lanes are just getting blocked off for Notre Dame to utilize.
Caroline Gray comes in as Roy throws the corner that kicks across the back post, and it's lifted in the air by Codd. She tries to knock it down, but Wake Forest once again lives to tell the tale. And great hustle here, and Hanks tries to push it to the outside, and Hudson's just able to recover at the last moment. It shows you what a special player Kaya Hanks is right there. Lindley went the full length of the pitch and was about a step away from turning the corner on Hudson and getting a one-on-one with the keeper.
That was a close call there for Notre Dame. Hudson just doing a nice job just shuttling her outside of the pitch. They're not allowing her to turn up the field.
Yeah, she's one of those players, obviously, as a defender who doesn't play the flashiest game, doesn't, rack up a ton of statistics that are going to show up on the stat sheet, but a steady presence for this Irish team, and she came through there in a huge moment. As I mentioned, it's been a long time since Wake Forest has been able to even make Ashley Naylor sweat. Hanks would have had a golden opportunity there to tie the game if Hudson was a step slower.
I think for Wake Forest, I think they've been able to use Emily Murphy a lot, as we see. As look back here at Hudson's defense, just a nice job just catching up to her, forcing Hanks off the ball. Just really great defense, just textbook right there.
Osbeck crosses the center line for Notre Dame. Another foul issued against Wake Forest.
Not a lot of things have been going the way of Wake Forest so far. One name I haven't really said a lot tonight is Emily Murphy. We're 35 there, wearing the captain's armband. New player for Wake Forest on the offensive side, coming from UNC. She's got a lot of potential, a lot of creativity, just a lot of high IQ, especially coming off of playing at UNC. Their coach Dorrance, so it's a lot of, she brings a lot of experience for that Wake Forest line, but we just haven't been able to see her a lot because of how well Notre Dame's been able to keep her out of the picture.
Irish continue to spend a lot of time on the Wake Forest side of the pitch. And 8.5 minutes to go here in the opening half. Andrew Baguettes alongside John French. The opening game of conference play between the Demon Deacons and Fighting Irish. Wake Forest 6-0-1, looking for a statement victory in its first game against a ranked opponent this year. Irish 4-1-2, hoping to show they're for real once again this season as Fisher tries to get a chance here, but her pass inside the box was smothered, and Wake settles for a clear into their own bench. Talked about how both these teams like to fire the ball a lot, but it has turned into a more defensive-heavy game. Obviously, neither team certainly slouching on the defensive end either. Entering this game, Wake Forest had not conceded a first-half goal all year. Notre Dame had only allowed 2. Especially early in games, both teams have been stout on the defensive end, so we'll see if things open up as this game progresses. This one popped up into the air. It goes out of bounds for a goal kick, and we have a Wake Forest player who's down inside the box. It's Tyler Ochoa, who was a bit slow to get up, but seems okay. She walks over.
I think she was battling with Sophia Fisher in that box there, off of Winai Hudson's throw-in.
He's going to come out of the game for at least a moment here and get checked out. Joe has started 5 of the 8 games so far this year, or 6 of 8 now for Wake Forest, getting the start tonight. A couple assists, including one in Wake's last contest. Backheel pass to the outside. Klinke reaches for it, but was kept away from her. Ochoa comes back in for Wake Forest as Audrey Weiss checks in for the first time for the Irish. Morgan Roy gets a breather here with 6.5 to go in the opening frame.
So saw there on that tackle there. I think it was Kayla Small that just got swarmed by two Irish players. Just wasn't just the defender that she was facing, but also the midfielder just came back for the Irish and just took the ball away from her. That's something that Wake Forest hasn't really been able to deal with this year so far. It's a big wake-up call in this first half for Wake Forest to try and step up their tempo and intensity on both sides of the ball to try and match the energy of Notre Dame.
We're able to win possession there and allow the Irish to regroup. A 2-0 for Fisher, who was tightly marked. And a turnover by Hudson as she was pressured by Small well in front of the benches.
I think I'd like to see from this Notre Dame offense is really utilizing shots outside the box. We've seen a lot of chances, especially once the ball starts closing into that 25-yard mark. Wake Forest defense just kind of clamps down inside, doesn't allow any runners to come in.
Chance here for the Demon Deacons as this one's thrown in front, but Nailers there able to shut that one off. Yeah, to your point, John, it's been about 20 minutes since we've had a shot from Notre Dame as well. Only a little bit shorter than the drought for Wake Forest, which may end there if that is called a shot. And over the head of the freshman Codd, knocked down, but too far in front of Klinke, and it comes to Howard. Madison Howard's gotten some action over the last couple seasons, played in 2 games last year and the year before, 5 in 2020, but Coach DeLuz said she made some major improvements with her feet over the summer, feels more comfortable and consistent between the pipes than ever, and that's allowed her to get off to such a strong start this season.
That's really good presence for Wake Forest. Someone you really can't replace. It's almost like a foundational piece in the lineup for them. Try and just establish some organization, just a little bit of consistency there.
There's a long ball to the right side. Weiss cannot track it down. Bit too much on that one from Klinke. Irish once again force a turnover. That's an area where Notre Dame's had a lot of success just outside the box at chasing down Wake Forest players from behind and catching them off guard, and they get another turnover and draw another foul as well. That's number 9 on Wake Forest in this half.
Just another more aggressive foul there. Wake Forest, a lot of calls going Notre Dame's way tonight. Especially for Coach DeLuz, can't be happy, especially how many they've given up so far. It just seems like every time the whistle blows, Notre Dame's just getting another possession back.
Melanie Mercado over there to take it. Time for this Irish team lead in points. Looking to add another one here. Throws it inside, scores! Another big goal from Ellie Osbeck as the Irish take advantage of the undisciplined Demon Deacons and make it 2-0 late in the half.
This has been a continuous theme for Wake Forest throughout the season. Started with App State, has continued into this Rhode Island game off these set pieces, whether it's off corners or these free kicks. Runs have always been getting open. And this time it's Ellie Osbeck just coming on the near post, front side of the ball. What a great angle too. That's kind of almost a tough shot to hit off the left foot, but Osbeck's comfortable with it. It's back to Howard, and now Rams up 2-0, going into the final 2 minutes of this first half.
And the Irish quickly on the hunt for more as well as they move up once again. Here's Kahn to the outside. She takes a shot. It's deflected wide. This will stay in bounds as Irish were inches away from another corner. It's goal number 3 of the year for Osbeck, who moves into a 5-way tie now for leading goal scorer on this Notre Dame team. She and Manny Mercado now tied for the team lead in points with 8. Osbeck getting 2 on the goal, Mercado getting 1 on the assist, her second.
Goes to show for the adaptability that each player can have, whether especially between midfielders and forwards. Coach Norman's crew, that's just such an important philosophy part that he wants each player to have. It's this little nudge here by Smalls is going to get a talking to. And
yeah, it was a good initial read by Logan, and then she draws the 5th foul of the half on Small. Remember, this Wake Forest team as a whole was averaging 9.5 fouls a game coming into this one. Small herself has racked up about half of that in 44 minutes and change. 11 overall for the Demon Deacons is Osbeck with a pass on the left side. Didn't have enough steam on it. Mercado, though, with a good read to force that one away. Codd fires a shot, and stumbling down was Howard, but thankfully for Wake Forest, this shot went wide.
Nice little play there by Cuz. The type of play where you just receive the ball, turn, and shoot is something that could really open up their offense. Now since they've created so much pressure on these back lines, they come in, a lot of open space at the top of the key. And Cod just seeing her opportunity and seizing it, just missing it off the frame.
Well, it's an electric start and an electric finish to the opening half of ACC play for Notre Dame and Wake Forest. The Irish get one early in the frame from Christina Lynch, and they get one late as well.
Emphasize the importance of discipline and just keeping to their game, not really getting too rushed or too aggressive. It's just another foul gets called on Wake Forest.
Yeah, speaking of being too aggressive, that is foul number 12 on Wake Forest. They already exceeded their season average in the opening 45 minutes, and it was Manny Mercado getting shoved down. This will be a free kick for the graduate student. Assisted on the Osbeck goal to make it 2-0 late in the first half.
I'm Coach DeLuz right now. I'm just telling all my players, just watch where you are and watch how you tackle. This ref is calling everything, whether it's just a simple nudge. So always be watching where you are.
Mercado's ball a little bit too far out in front. And Howard comes out to make the grab. This Wake Forest team last year was one of the top defensive teams in the country. They led the ACC with just 16 goals allowed all season. Had 9 shutouts in 22 games played. And only yielded 2 goals all season coming into this one before the 2-goal first half.
You mentioned at the start of the game, just a junior-heavy lineup for Wake Forest. That type of consistency is going to be important, especially with just establishing some consistency as that shot goes off.
Nice fake by Emily Morris, but put it high and wide. Wake's coach Tony DeLuz talked about how he sees them as a possession-heavy team that likes to limit turnovers, but struggled in both those areas in the first half, and the stats show you the picture here. The Irish with an edge basically all the way across the board.
Yeah, I mean, especially when you look at the shots created. 8 shots for Notre Dame, only 4 for Wake Forest. As we talked about just then, 11 fouls now, 12 for Wake Forest. Of course, those 3 corners for Notre Dame, another critical opponent, set pieces. So that's something that Notre Dame can really take advantage of, and as we saw off the free kick, Ellie Osbeck just getting right in front and netting it.
Mercado able to work away from a double team there. Long ball up the right side results in a chance in front, but Merwicki was unable to settle it down. Got a piece of it, but never the chance to guide it on goal. Now a long toss ahead from Wake Forest, and Hanks was just able to corral that one as well. Talia Hanks has been as advertised so far for Wake Forest. She has been their one consistent chance creator. Whistle stops play here.
Nice run by Merwicki. Also, just the delivery off the lob ball into her. Just that first touch is always so important. Also important just to get it settled and get a clean shot off. But as perfect as that ball was to get to her, she just couldn't quite get down on the ground with 2 Wake Forest defenders as Klinke wants to take one of her own.
Klinke slips it through, had Lynch breaking, but she was unable to get a piece of it on a bid for her second of the night. And then an aggressive challenge from Van Zandt, but a nice evasion there. This one headed off an Irish defender. Hudson has to hustle back, and for the second time tonight, she saves potential disaster in the last moment.
And this Klinke-Lynch connection has already happened. We saw that in the first 5 minutes of the game. Headed a ball in, almost the same exact scenario. Something to keep an eye on, especially as we get later into this game.
One touch pass from Small didn't make it through there. Lynch forced to just chip it along. First time all season that Wake Forest is trailed by multiple goals. First time all season they've conceded multiple goals in a game, in fact. Entering at 6-0-1 tonight, a 1-1 tie in their second game of the season against Army, their lone blemish. The Irish have clearly knocked them off their A game so far, and we'll see if Coach Deleuze can get his squad back on track. They certainly have the firepower to do so. They've been able to score. The last game they scored twice in a 2-minute span, so they can certainly change the complexion of a game very quickly, but Irish are not going to give them anything easy. Klinke down the left side. Got pushed off the ball from behind, and Wake Forest chips it out.
Both those goals that you mentioned against Rhode Island in their past game for Wake Forest, both of them came off of just simple runs up the right side and left side and just crosses into the middle. That's something Notre Dame has been really good at just taking advantage of.
This ball comes to Hudson and back to Gattino. Tried to shrug off the reach of Hanks, who dragged her down. Klinke kept it alive, and then slipping down was the keeper, Howard, for the second time tonight. Didn't cost her, and now we get a whistle, and we'll stay Wake ball here.
For Wake Forest, it's so crucial. They won the possession battle, but right now they're not with Kiki Van Zanten.
She plays it to the right side. Lynch drops it back off. Swung along by Mercado to the outside. It's Roy trying to get it in front, but the pass was broken up. Now it's Morris to take the outlet. Wake Forest looking for an opportunity. Here's Small getting the legs going. Small trickles it right side. Has Hanks there, watched by Hudson, trying to cross, gets a corner. Second set piece opportunity of the night for the visitors.
Big moment for Wake Forest right now, just getting, especially with Murphy, Smalls, and Hanks into the box. They've been really important off the free kicks and the corners.
Christine Johnson will take it for Wake Forest. Has an assist already this season. Sends it low in. It pinballs around for a moment before the Irish whack it out of harm's way. Second chance for Johnson. This time she put too much on it. The long pass finds Berwicki up the right side, and she'll take it along for the Irish. Numbers game does not favor Notre Dame. It's a 5-on-2, and Berwicki is stood up there along the far sideline. Good defensive play there by Zara Chavoshi.
You mentioned numbers up there, Andrew, but it almost looked like if Berwicki just even looked up and saw the run that Lynch was making in between the center back, she could have got a nice run in. Like you mentioned, numbers were up for Wake Forest. They were able to regain possession. This possession battle is so crucial for them to just establish their offense. Notre Dame's side, they've only been able to keep the ball in their half only 11% of the time, whereas on their half of the field, Notre Dame's almost keeping it in their half almost 60% of the time. So it's a big difference, especially in the final third. For Wake Forest, they just have been able to keep possession or even get the ball into Notre Dame's final third, whereas Notre Dame, they just look like they're setting up shop on Wake Forest's side.
Murphy was upset a moment ago there wasn't a foul call. Now it's the Irish fans who aren't happy that the whistle stays silent. Nice move here, and a low shot is stopped by a Naylor diving to her left. First big test of the night for the Irish keeper, and Naylor aces it.
Nice job by Small, just see what she's given. That's something that's kind of plaguing Notre Dame a little bit, especially in that game against Michigan at home. So they were just they dominated that possession battle against Michigan, but Michigan did not let up, always stymied Notre Dame's attack. So here comes Klinke for Notre Dame.
Shrugged off one, threw it off another, and good play there from Klinke to bank it off Ochoa and give Notre Dame another corner as we get a look at Naylor's second stop of the night.
Small just recognizing that as she gets closer and closer, Notre Dame's just going to stand up to her at some point. A nice shot to try and keep it low, away from keeper's upper part. That's a little bit easier for them to save.
Roy on the corner again for Notre Dame. Send it inside, bodies collide, and Wake Forest gets the clear. Small entering tonight, had 16 shots, which was tied for most on this Wake Forest team. It was the first one just attempted by Wake Forest, not even necessarily on goal, in about 45 minutes. That would have been a call there potentially, as Roy was knocked down inside the box, but officials say play on. Some more contact there as the Irish catch up to this one on the far side. Ball down low for Roy, off target, goal kick results. Irish will make their first sub of the half here. As Ellie Osbeck, who scored the second goal for Notre Dame tonight, gets her first action in the second half.
That's one thing about Notre Dame that makes them not just a formidable opponent, but also just the depth they have on the offensive side, whether it's the midfielders or the forwards. Every time Coach Norman subs in a new player, it's not that they're always going to be able to produce. Osbeck coming off the bench here in the second half, she's, like you said, Andrew, she's tied in that running on the stat sheet for Notre Dame. So every single opponent that Notre Dame plays always has to keep their wits about them, always has to keep the awareness up and the energy up. And right now, here comes Osbeck once again.
As it coming down the right side, Osbeck tries to fake to the outside, and a beautiful tackle made there. But then a turn back over, and Osbeck goes down, and once again, the whistle's not blown. But a bit more lenient so far in the second half after a lot of fouls were called in the opening 45 minutes. As Roy tries to throw it back in front, it was whiffed on. I believe by Small, and now we will get a foul against Wake Forest after a couple no calls over the last few minutes, and Zara Chavoshi not happy with the referee's decision.
So far, Ansborough right there just keep stepping up on Osbeck, as now Chavoshi, who challenged Matriano there, gets called.
And this will be another free kick for Maddie Mercado. We're set up Osbeck and from basically the exact same distance late in the first half to give Notre Dame the 2-0 cushion. Looking to put Notre Dame firmly in the driver's seat here. She'll take the shot herself, right off the bar. Rebound available in front, and it's guided just wide. Madison Howard got just enough to deny Maddie Mercado of her fourth. And Notre Dame's third of the night.
It's a better job for Wake Forest to get marks covered, not allowing it. But a nice job by Howard just to save it. And this time Wake Forest just keeps their head up, especially on their marks, always being aware of where the ball is, knocking that thing out. Lynch had the foot right there, and she knows it too. And that in her second there of the night.
Van Zanten worked that one along. Lynch throws it inside. Van Zanten chipped at it and rolls just out of her reach for a Wake goal kick. And Christina Lynch really seems to have found her stride, though. Goals in consecutive games, and she's had a couple chances since starting the scoring about 6 minutes into this one.
And Coach Norman's really starting to utilize her more in that 10-11 spot for the Irish. She's really given her a lot of those opportunities to kind of take those 1v1s. She's so good at her skill, her footwork and her skill work is so good. To just create opening, just a little bit of space for her to get shots off. When you get more time up at the front, you're going to be able to score more goals.
Klinke tried to set up Lynch once again, but the two unable to connect, and a nice evasion there by Abby Colton to keep it away from the Notre Dame pressure. Bit of a sloppy pass there from Gattino, and it's a Notre Dame turnover. And Wake gives it right back.
Wake Forest really hasn't been able to really transition from that defensive to that offensive mindset. When they get the ball back on the defensive side, they just haven't been able to really quickly regain possession, as the Irish love to just play that high press offense. Lynch gets called. So I thought she almost got caught offsides, but she didn't. It's another throw-in for the Irish deep within Wake Forest's territory.
Hard pass there, and then awkward collision, and trying to play it quickly ahead was Small, but official wouldn't let Wake play on so quickly, and now he chats with Mercado. After the foul was called. for this Wake team. You know, so far this season, they've really had a three-headed monster offensively. It's been Hanks, it's been Alex Wood, and it's been Emily Murphy, who have combined for 9 goals and 4 assists so far this season. Hanks has certainly looked dangerous for most of tonight's contest, but Wood and Murphy have struggled to make their mark.
Yeah, especially Wood. We just haven't really been able to say her name. She just really hasn't gotten the ball for Wake Forest, and that's just a testament to how well Notre Dame has been defending and winning those possession battles early on and not allowing the Wake Forest midfield to really get a foothold and gain control of the middle of the field.
She entered this game on a 3-game goal streak, so coming in fairly, or you'd think red hot, but has not been able to generate much so far. Sophia Fisher coming in for Notre Dame at that stoppage. Malika Mina as well. Or excuse me, Mina coming out for Anna Swanson. Matriano heading off to the bench for Fisher to come on. Yeah, so far those 3, Hanks, Wood, and Murphy, have combined for just 2 shots.
Wake Forest now starting to get numbers up, especially on the Irish's defensive side. Really important that they start making good runs.
Pass inside, takes a dangerous deflection off Gattino, I believe. But fortunately, it hopped basically right into Ashley Naylor, and Gattino is a bit shaken up. Lets the referee know that she's okay.
Really tough block there that she made off that shot. The shot was not the easiest shot in the world to really block. Put her body on the line for that one.
We've talked about it a little bit earlier, the impact she can make on both ends of the ball. Mac Herman, semi-finalist, first-team All-American for U.S. soccer coaches last year. And again, one of Notre Dame's top contributors with 3 goals so far this year. Klinke in her office coming down the left. This time slams on the brakes, throws it up for grabs. Volleyed back out for Fisher, who just chips it in the direction of the goal, and Howard comes out to stop it.
Same play, same exact output that Klinke's just been doing. Once she receives the ball on that left side, she's just going to keep attacking Javoshi up on the right side of Wake Forest's defense. And Tyler Ochoa in the midfield in the center back position.
Emily Murphy back in for Wake Forest. She too scored in Wake's last contest. We're trying to make her mark on this one. Is just about halfway through the second half on a beautiful night for soccer in South Bend. Cold weather that this area is known for hasn't quite set in yet. It's not the triple-digit scorcher that Irish had to play in earlier this year. Mid-60s and a navy blue sky for the first ACC game of the season. Hudson with a nice challenge on the outside. And a second one as well to spike it away to the sideline.
Big opportunity here for Wake Forest to just keep possession in Notre Dame's half, to not really lose it. Right there, it's It's just a simple error on the possession ball. Notre Dame just gets it right back. So that's something, especially for coach to lose. It's really important for Wake Forest to just try and win the possession battle. Really try and keep the tempo up, especially against the Irish defense. Try and keep making those runs around. Also win outside the box. A lot of the shots that Notre Dame has succeeded so far have been shots that have come right in front of their defensive line, not quite inside the box, but with just enough space outside to get a really nice shot off. So that's something that Wake Forest can really look to probably do, especially with Emily Murphy in the lineup.
Carolyn Gray back in for the Irish. Kiki Van Zanten comes out as a misplay there from Klinke, and Wake Forest will get a corner here. Still some time for the Demon Deacons, 21 minutes to go. You mentioned they have quick strike ability, but in need of one soon to really feel like they have a chance to get back in this thing. Christine Johnson will take it. Throws it up high, trying to get it towards the back post, and winds up being knocked out of bounds by Gattino, and so we'll get another Wake corner on the other side.
Really nice play so far for Wake Forest, is matching the energy of Notre Dame, playing the high press, really not allowing Notre Dame to really connect the ball into the midfield at the half. So that's really important. Wake Forest is trying to still create opportunities to try and get a goal on the board and really shift the momentum into their favor.
Swanson will come over to take this one. She swings it in. Dangerous play there, but Naylor was able to push her way to the ball and punch it outside. And a nice sliding play from Osbeck to slow down the Wake Forest push. This is not a Wake team that's done a lot in terms of generating corners so far this season. They entered today with just 29. So an average about 4 per game, which was tied for 11th in the ACC. Morris tried to fake out Gray, couldn't do it, but then her pass for Lynch was a bit errant. Irish last year, of course, got off to a great 7-0 start as get an awkward collision here. As Howard bumped into Zara Chavoshi, and she's a bit slow to get up. There seems too happy with how that played out. He's going to look at it again.
Can't see Lynch there just trying to play aggressively, but just literally just shoves her in the back there. Let's take a look at the corner here of Johnson. Naylor doing a nice job just shoving it away over the Wake Forest player that's in front. That's why a lot of players, you always see a lot of players just putting an offensive player on the goalie, try and body block him. That time, Naylor getting the best of them and not allowing that ball to go into the net.
That was a foul on Christina Lynch, and then deservedly so after seeing that. Both sides with 2 shots so far in this half. Both came into this game attempting about 20 shots per match on average. There's another one from Wake Forest, but it's well high from Murphy. Charlie Codd The freshman will replace Christina Lynch.
Another fresh pair of legs for the Irish to really just continue the tempo. For Wake Forest, that's something that they just need to adjust to, especially in these waning minutes. We get to the final 15 minutes of this game. It's really important that to just keep the momentum up, try and see if they can really push, make a final push in these last 10 minutes, 15 minutes of the game.
Irish really not making it easy on them, though. Some good work by Codd off the bench and Klinke as well to disrupt Wake around midfield. Roy slams on the brakes. Cross one inside, that was broken up. For this Irish team, another turnover forced there, and a long shot goes wide. Really important for them to start ACC playoff strong, because look at their last 4 games. It's an absolute gauntlet. Florida State, North Carolina, NC State, and then Clemson to finish out the year. First 3 of those games are all on the road as well. So pivotal for them to get off to a good start tonight. And some tough tasks as well coming up right after this in road matches against Duke and Pitt.
And not only is it important just to win these matches, especially in ACC Conference, also at home, you mentioned it. 3 games on the road, especially FSU and UNC. That's, you need to make the most of the games that you can play at home, especially in the ACC. This game tonight so far for Coach Norman has been awesome.
Great hustle there from Klinke to keep that one alive on the sideline. Won the battle, threw it in front. And the pass is just a little bit off the mark. Settled down on the outside by Mercado. She rips a shot, scores! An exclamation point and a 3-point night at that for Maddie Mercado to put Notre Dame up by a 3.
Klinke just doing what she does best, just keep continuing to put the pedal to the metal. And Mercado, she has really developed her game so far. I mean, look at that left foot shot. That's a beautiful kick that she just made. Oh, into the back post right over Howard. Howard just did the best she could. And you can't ask for a better shot than that for Maddie Mercado.
Well, a log jam at the top of the goal charts for this Irish team no longer. That's number 4 for Mercado. Assisted on the second goal tonight for Notre Dame and scores the 3rd. It all started with the great hustle by Klinke, taking that ball away from Ochoa after it looked like it was, at nothing else, at least going to trickle out of bounds. But she came all the way over from deep in Notre Dame territory and made that play happen. A well-earned assist for Klinke, her 4th of the season. Beg your pardon, that's actually her 5th, as she too had one earlier tonight.
It's just a picture-perfect shot from Mercado. You just want to see it again and again. It was just such a good, just so good.
Osbeck tried to hold herself back, but does go offside. 3rd time tonight, the flag has come up against the Irish. That looks like it'll be just a footnote on certainly a complete performance from this Notre Dame team. They're obviously disappointed with the loss to Michigan a few games ago. They have bounced back in a big way and could be on their way to consecutive 3-0 victories, as their difficulty ramps up as well.
I mentioned that Michigan game, Andrew. That was just a big game where Notre Dame just dominated that possession battle. They just couldn't get the ball into the back of the net, and it looked like just a staple Notre Dame game. Notre Dame Irish offense just putting shot and after shot and after shot. Just couldn't go in. And Michigan, with the few shots that they had outside the box, just connect on one. And that's the difference maker, just a 0-1 defeat. It looks like Norman may have found the positioning and role swaps that he's made, especially as we saw in the beginning of the game. Mercado kind of playing more of a central mid position, and Lynch getting more time, especially up at the number 9, the striker spot. So it's something that, especially for Coach Norman, that ability to adapt, that ability to be able to just play the role that the team needs you to play is something that's crucial to be part of this Notre Dame offense.
Chance there for Wake Forest after that ball was knocked down, but it's volleyed high by Alex Wood. That's her first shot attempt of the night. You're talking about that, John. The Notre Dame team is actually entering tonight averaging fewer shots on goal per match than they were last year, but they're averaging more goals against as well. And like you said, it's not like those shots have really come from close range consistently, so you figure Irish were due for a little bit of a correction there, and it seems like tonight has been just what they were hoping for in that regard and just about everything else as well. It's a nice chase down by Klinke again. Throws one in front, and Howard dives out to smother it.
Imagine how well Notre Dame's been just able to kind of establish that plan for tonight. I mean, what better way to do it than at the start of ACC play, where every single point, every single game matters when it comes to that final seeding, especially in the College Cup, which seems, the ACC tournament is kind of its own, NCAA tournament in terms of finding your ranking, finding that home field advantage, not just in the College Cup, but also for NCAA.
Yeah, it certainly is a gauntlet. You might find it facing more, top 10 teams than you might in an NCAA tournament run, depending on how the bracket plays out. There's another chance for Notre Dame. That shot takes off. Sent over the top there for Caroline Gray. Another chase down and steal for Maddie Mercado. Gray had it taken off of her by Hanks. Good challenge from Gattino, and Notre Dame recovers. Some space up the right side as the Irish look to add on. And this pass comes through. Charlie Codd works in. She is offside. Save was made anyway by Howard, and an impressive one at that, but all academic as the flag went up.
Taking a look here on the run by Codd. I mean, she's way behind that Wake Forest line. Wake Forest doing a good job, just offside traps on, not allowing Codd to get on.
Codd onside this time, but had her shot attempt canceled out. Was not able to get much on it. That ball did go out right in front of the Notre Dame bench. Irish will keep possession, but first Christina Lynch will check back in. Ellie Osbeck, who's certainly had a strong performance tonight, comes out. Andrew McGinnis and John French here with 8.5 minutes to go. Irish look like they're on their way to a convincing win to begin conference play. Notre Dame finished third in the ACC last year in regular season play. They were projected to finish fourth this year in the preseason poll. Chip in front here, eludes Lynch. He's had a bevy of chances in this one, and there's Klinke winning another battle to keep control, and took a double team to take it away from her, and even still it comes back to Hudson. And then Klinke crosses. Knocked down to Murphy.
So transition attack possibly for Wake Forest to try and build some momentum and build an attack.
Demon Dega's in danger of being shut out for the first time this season, and certainly in danger of seeing their 5 consecutive match streak of scoring at least multiple goals come to an end.
For both sides, this game has been really telling a lot, especially just going back. If you watch back a lot of how this game kind of turned, Notre Dame was a little bit more just kind of their stock and staple. Whereas Wake Forest, it's really just a big test for them to try and see how they can fit into that ACC conversation.
And play from Gattino there to break up that cross. Codd was stripped, but a long-range ball goes wide. Look at the bid that almost made it 4 goals in the night for the Irish.
See Wise there just dishing it out to Gray. You're just getting a little bit too hard of a touch on there. I think Christina Lynch thought it was going to go to someone behind her. That's why she kind of dummied it and faked out everyone. Just got to keep your head up. Whether you're on the offensive side or the defensive side.
It's always hard to judge teams head-to-head this early in the season. Obviously, non-conference schedule difficulty can vary. To mention, this is the first ranked opponent Wake Forest has faced this year. Notre Dame has already played a couple, and Arkansas was top 10 at the time, now number 11. Michigan, who moved into 19 after beating Notre Dame 1-0 here in South Bend about a week ago. Some speed on the outside here, worked along for a shot, and Wake Forest is on the board. And it is Kaya Hanks, who's been their most consistently dangerous player, ending the clean sheet bid with 5:16 to play.
We're run by Kaya Hanks up the left side. She's taking on the freshman Claire Logan. Sophomore of Wake Forest versus the freshman, and Hanks gets the better of it, just getting enough space to open it up. Nice right foot touch. We're just getting up and over Naylor. Naylor doing her best to just outstretched as much as possible. Wake Forest gets that first goal on the board.
So Hanks gets the goal unassisted, and a yellow card dished out now. So an eventful finish to this one, as Claire Logan is going to get booked. Clock is stopped now with 4:58 left. Or it actually looks like, it might be against Wake Forest potentially, because it is Notre Dame ball here. Well, either way, it is Kaya Hanks' goal, her 4th of the year, unassisted. Moves her into a tie for 8th in the ACC in goals. Puts her in sole possession of first place on this Wake Forest team as well, breaking the 3-way tie with Wood and Murphy. And here comes Hanks again, throws one towards the box. One hop, easily handled by Naylor. Yellow card was indeed issued against Kaya Hanks. Let's take a look at it.
See Claire Logan there just trying to take the ball. Hanks just playing aggressive off the back.
Howard came
just a simple call for the referee there.
Yeah, Howard came way out there just a moment ago and almost a costly turnover, although obviously a risk you have to take down 2 this late. "27 fouls between these two teams combined in this one. 14 against Wake, 13 on Notre Dame, who will bring back in Kiki Van Zanten for the last 3:41. As Caroline Gray comes out, Irish just trying to solidify these last couple moments. Codd tried to knock it ahead, bumped in to Ansbro. It will be Wake ball with 3:21 to play. Demon Deacons, as we said in their last game, had a stretch where they did score twice in about a 2-minute span, and they could replicate that here. Would certainly make the fans at Alumni Stadium a little bit nervous.
You can tell the sense of urgency, especially with Emily Murphy and Hanks. Hanks is trying to play the ball quickly. She kind of got that yellow card on that tackle behind on Claire Logan. So see if maybe she still has that belief, always has that drive, the competitive to win. Even there is 2.5 minutes left. That's something that can really help her, especially in the latter half of the season where you get those big games, those big matchups. It'll determine seeding, determine who will be going, who will be in or out. It's good qualities to see, especially for Wake Forest's offensive side of the field.
There's a collision. And we'll get our second card in the last closing minutes of this game. This one will be on Notre Dame, assisting against Kiki Van Zanten.
A big tackle here between Van Zanten and Wake Forest's defender, Emily Morris.
Munson handles the free kick from the Notre Dame back line. Logan hustled back to cut that one off and get another late foul here. Like playing quickly here, running out of time, but it worked free for a brief moment, and a dangerous ball in front. It's cleared away by Notre Dame. Juggled along up high, it comes to Small, couldn't get a shot away cleanly, and Irish will just spin it to the sideline.
Big thing for Notre Dame is closing games. We saw in that Michigan game, they just dominated. Or excuse me, not the Michigan game, but the Milwaukee game at the beginning of the season. Go up 2-0 in the first. And all of a sudden, with 2 minutes left to play, just come scoring. Milwaukee just comes back and wins it. So he doesn't win it, but at least ties it up to make it 2-2. The final 30 seconds, that's something, especially in these latter moments for Coach Norman's crew, it's really important to just stay active, always keep your head on the swivel, especially with these crosses that Wake Forest loves to deal with.
And Naylor wasn't happy there. That Murphy bumped into her a little bit as she went to cover that ball. Oh, with 20 seconds left and a 2-goal lead, the Irish can start to breathe a sigh of relief. Celebrate a hard-fought and well-earned victory. It'll be a 3-1 final from Alumni Stadium tonight as the Irish took the lead about 6 minutes into this game, and John, they really never let up once they got going.
Coach Norman's crew continue to put the pressure